Hey folks, Bridges here. This video is for the Engineering Essentials Project 134, I believe. Anyway, it's the emergency kit project that we're working on. So what I'm looking at here is the summary from Google Classroom. On Google Classroom, I posted the Project 134 summary, and that's what we're looking at. And on page 2 of this, it tells you the deliverables that you're going to turn in. Now we've already got a place for you to turn in the design brief, which is deliverable 1, and then the spreadsheet, which is deliverable 2. Right now we're going to start working on deliverable 3, which is the virtual model of the packaging. And the way that I read this is you need to make a 3D model of a box or some other type of packaging to hold your items. Okay? Before we can make our 3D model of a box, we've got to know how big to make our box. So that is why the spreadsheet is important. All right, on your spreadsheet, you hopefully have listed all of the items that you're going to include in your box. I've listed 3 items here just for an example. Along with the quantity and the cost of each item, I've also listed the volume, and that's why that's so important. And I figured out that the volume of So I figured out that the volume of this 12-pack of granola bars is 64 cubic inches. And I figured that out by going to the website where it was sold and multiplying what they told me the length, width, and depth were of that package to get 64. I also found out that the volume of a package of 100 balloons is 233 cubic inches. And the volume of a PS5 is 565 cubic inches. Now once you've got all your volumes for all your items figured out, we're going to add them all together down here in the total row. And the way that I did that was I let the computer do the work for me. That way if I add anything or take anything off, it changes immediately. So to do that, I'm going into this total cell E14, and I'm going to type in a formula. Or rather, I guess it's a function. So to type in there, I'm going to type the equals key, and the equals key tells the computer it's time for you to do some math. Now, what we're trying to find is the sum of all these cells. So we're actually going to type in sum. And here it gives us some options. But we're going to choose this first option. You do have to click that button. You do have to click that top button, sum. Now it wants me to select all the cells to add up. And that's going to be all these cells right here above it. And simply press enter. And the sum of all these items up here, which is 64 plus 233 plus 565 plus a bunch of blanks, equals up to be 862. Excuse me. So once my 862, this is the total volume of all of my items to go inside. So now once I've got that magic number, now we're going to come over here to a new tab and go to TinkerCAD. And literally just TinkerCAD.com. TinkerCAD.com. And when you get there, you're going to click on the Login button up in the upper right-hand corner. So once you're on TinkerCAD, you're going to go ahead and click the Login button, and you're going to log in with your Google account. For you, you're going to be a student account. For me, I'm going to be an educator. And I'll click Sign In with Google. Now once you sign in using your Viking Mail credentials, it will take it just a moment. And it should take you to something called Your Designs, which is right here. Now, you may or may not have any designs from middle school days, but what we're going to do is we're going to start a new design over here at the top right. We're going to go to New, 3D Design. And it takes it a second to give you your 3D workspace. So when it does show up, this is your 3D workspace, and you can navigate around by clicking different spots on the view cube over here. I can view it from the corner. I can actually click and drag to move that cube around. And you can always click the home button to go back to the home view. I like this top right corner the best. So to make my box, I'm going to simply choose a solid cube from over here. I'm going to bring it out. It could be any solid shape that you want, but I'm going to start with a cube. And the other thing that I'm going to do is change my settings right away. And I'm going to change my settings from millimeters to inches. Don't click cancel. Just click off of the screen when you're done. So now I can click and I can drag this bigger or smaller. Right now my box is 2.2 inches by 2.0 inches. And that's great, but that's a solid box. Okay? I'm trying to have an empty box or a hollow box. So to do that, I'm going to bring in the hollow space right here. And I'm going to bring it in and combine it with the area that I already have. And I want to leave a snap. So if you don't like the snap grid, you can change that smaller. If you don't like where it's giving you options to snap to. And I'm using the white corner buttons of each shape to change their size. So basically what I just did was I created a red solid block, and then I created a hollow space that intersects with that edge. So now it's all inside the red. So at this point I can use shift click to hold shift and click the red, or I can simply just click and drag a box around everything. But what I want to make sure is that I've got two shapes selected here. And once you have both shapes selected, we're going to click this button here to group them together to make one box that's empty on the inside. Isn't that neat? I think it's neat. All right. So now let's see if our box is big enough for the items in my kit. So I'll click on my box and I'll hover on the white. I'll click on the white corners and it shows me the dimensions of my box. My box happens to be 2.0 inches by 2.2 inches with a depth of, if I click on the middle white arrow, the white box, with a depth of, let's make this a little bit taller. Oops. Let's make this a little bit deeper and make it a good solid 1 inch. So now the volume of my box is length times width times height. So 2.0 times 2.2 times 1. Well, I'm sure that some of you math geniuses out there have figured out that that's going to be a little bit over 4 cubic inches. Let's test it out and see. 2.0 times 2.2 times 1.0. And that's going to be 4.4 cubic inches. Is that big enough for all the items in my emergency kit? Is 4.4 cubic inches enough room? I'm thinking no. No, we need our box to be 862 cubic inches. So that means we need to make this box quite a bit bigger. But once you've got the empty box shape, you can simply click and drag to make this area bigger. And you don't even have to stay on the platform, the build platform. You can actually even take it off like this. And you can make it taller as well. Here, and see if we can make it 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches. A little bit bigger. That's pretty close. 12.5 by 12.25 by 12 inches tall. Tie those together. Let's try that out. 12 times 12 is 1,728 cubic inches is what my new box can hold. Is that enough? 1,728? Is that enough for all of my items? It is. It's way more than enough. So if this is the only items I want to take, I can make my box smaller and save some money that way. So have fun with this. Give it a shot. Make sure that all your items from here, all of the total volume is big enough is small enough to fit in here, or rather make sure your box, your container, is big enough to accommodate all your items. Folks, good luck. Oh, don't forget to change the name of your design to Emergency Kit Packaging. Okay? Emergency Kit Packaging. Or something of that nature. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any questions, send me an email or ask me in class. Thanks.